Hello everybody and welcome to the second video in the series of using the CNC machine. This one is setting up the CAM software. So this software isn't different like it was um, in using our 3D printer. This one is actually in Onshape, but you have to go and sort of like an app in Onshape. So the first thing that we're going to do is go up here to the App Store and click here. These are all integrated apps that work with Onshape or alongside Onshape, where you can scroll down and find it if you want to, but I'm going to come up here and type Kiri and hit enter, and then Kiri Moto, this is the one that we're going to use. So I've already subscribed, but you basically click here, subscribe, accept it, and then it will show up in your Onshape. So this is a really fantastic program. And I'll show you how it can help us do what we need to do. So I'm going to go back to Onshape and find my garden sign, if I can remember where I put it. Where did I put it? Nope. And open it back up. Now you might have to refresh your you might have to hit what's refresh? You might have to hang on. You might have to come up here and like refresh your browser just so that it loads it. But I'm going to hit F11. When you want to use Kirimoto, the CAM software, you just come down here to Plus, Applications, and click Kirimoto here. And after a little bit, you'll see that it opens up a new tab down here, and it signs in. So when you first log in, it looks a little bit different. Just X out of anything and I'll show you how to set it up. So if you get something like this, we're just going to X out. We'll deal with that soon. The first thing that we need to do is set up the machine. All of the detail for this is on Mr. Brown Technology. If you look for a page called CNC Settings, CNC Settings, it's all the settings are here. But I'll just go through here just to show you. So first thing up the top here, make sure CNC is selected. We're going to come down, it doesn't matter which one of these, we're just going to click customize. Alright, we're going to change the name, we'll call it multicam. That's the people who make the machine. 12 by 12, yep, so it's 1200 by 1200 millimeters. So whoops, just be careful where you're clicking to. So I'm going to click in here, 1200. I might press tab just to make sure. 1200, that's the size of the bed. Max spindle is 18,000. That's how fast the spindle runs. And that's it for that top section. So we're going to come down here and change these. Now, it might be easier to look at this on Mr. Brown Technology, but I'll write it in here. G90, and I'm not going to spend much time explaining all this stuff, just because that'll happen in another lesson. Alright, so G90, G56, so basically absolute mode, so 0, 0 is always 0, 0. G56, that's the machine's home, the machine knows what that means. S, 18,000 is start spinning at 18,000 RPM. M3 is turn on. Okay, so in the header, that means every job that you do, this will be at the top, and that's just message to the machine, this is what you're doing. Alright, your footer, you can leave. M30 means end, so the machine has to know when it's stopped. Tool change, just get rid of all this stuff. We don't have I haven't played around with tool change much, to be honest. And CNC, some of them have auto tool change and some don't. So we just leave it as M6. Dwell, I think that we're leaving that. Spindle speed, I think that we're leaving that too. Okay, so that's this section set up. Just make sure all this is correct too. NC is our file extension. Um, strip comments and token spacer, tick them. I'm not sure if it's that fast. So you should have this here. We're going to click save. When you come back and have a look, your Kiri Moto should look like this. Something like it. So you can see here 25, 50, 75, that's millimeters. You can see here X. So if you remember back to doing graphs in maths, you got your X and your Y. This is how the CNC sees its bed. There's 0, 0, up here is 1200 by 1200, everything else is a coordinate. It's accurate to a hundredth of a millimeter. So if you take a millimeter and split it up into 100 parts, that's how accurate it is. 25 here, 50. It's good to have these out. You can go to, let's have a look at preferences. So these are my preferences here. These are also on Mr. Brown Technology. However, the program is regularly updated. It's a fantastic program, this. Like, honestly, it's really good. It's regularly updated, and it changes when it does. So you can just do yours like mine. Anti-alias, invert, zoom, all of these here, show origin. If you're not seeing exactly like mine, make sure these are all clicked, this display. Animate 500 units, millimeters, layout, autosave, spacing, grid, local. Yeah, make sure that's ticked. Detail and all this sort of stuff. Make sure it's exactly like that. Okay. Now we need to set up our tool. Now I'm just trying to think with our signs. I'm not exactly sure what you guys are going to want to do, but let's just start with this one. So if you have a look on Mr. Brown Technology, you'll see tool setup. The 6.35 down cut is the one that you wanted to set up. So you can also do the 4.676, but this one, the 4.76, but this 6.35 is where we're at. So call it 6.35 down cut. 6.35 is the diameter of the cutter bit. This will all make sense sort of when we go into actually cutting it. The type is end, so that means a straight bottom instead of a round bottom or a funny sort of V shape. Metric, of course. Tool doesn't matter because it's not auto change. Diameter 6.35. 6.35 is a quarter of an inch. That's why it's 0.35. Length 30. So that's just this grey bit up here. The flute is the bit that does the cutting. 6.35. The length is 20, and the tip, it's not a taper, so it doesn't matter. Once you've done that, hit save. You can set up for the 4.76 down cut too if you like. So it's got a 6mm shank. I think it's actually got a 6.35mm shank, but it doesn't actually matter. Like, just put that in 6.35. Length 46. I've measured all this off the tool, so that's where it comes from. Once you've set that up, hit save, and then you're done. Okay. So we're looking pretty good so far. There's a few other things that we need to set up over here, so we can go tabs. There's nothing here that we need at the moment. Stock. For our piece, what will we do? We'll just leave it off at the moment. Limits. Make sure that this is set correctly, please. Top. I think in Mr. Brown Technology I've got this set to 6,000. Z anchor. Top. It's important, otherwise it won't do the right thing. Z clearance 5, that's when the machine is cutting in between, like is moving in between cuts. That's how high off the board it's going to be. And 5 mil I think is a safe distance. Z feed, how fast it goes up and down. XY feed, how fast it goes acrossways. What else have we got? Ease down, conventional. Just click that one. I'll go into more detail if we need to. I don't want to make it too detail heavy. And this one, just leave this one. Get out of that. Expert. We're not experts. Well, I'm not an expert. All right. So, just like in Onshape, if you hold the right mouse button, you can move around. If you hold the left mouse button, you can move around. You can zoom in with your mouse wheel. It is highly recommended to use a mouse for this. How you import a file is something that we'll cover in the next video. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll see you in the next one.